everybody, first of all, in my family sung. But I was the one who was able to travel with it.
Dita's voice has captured audiences on stages around the world. She has toured in plays by Tyler Perry and performed with a wide variety of world-renowned gospel and R&B artists. Although her childhood was changed by a tragic day, a gift arose through the darkness.
Yesterday, today,
my mother had left us with a babysitter, and my uncle and her had gone to the grocery store. There was a little boy in our building who wanted to go outside and play. He was angry because his grandmother wouldn't let him go out. He got a hold of some matches, and he started playing with them, and the matches caught onto the curtain in their apartment building, which then started the whole igniting of a fire and smoke. The little girl who was babysitting us heard the commotion in the hallway. At the age of 7 months, sister was 5, my brother was 4, and she went out in the hall to see the door slam shut. It was the kind of door you had to turn a lock or it would lock. So it locked her out. Now, first let me say, I don't remember any of this. These are stories that I got from my family members years later, because most of my family never, ever talked about it. My mother and my uncle were coming back from the store, and they were talking and laughing, and my mom said to my uncle, "Go down there and see where those fire trucks are." He ran ahead of her. He was gone for a little while, ran back and said, "The trucks are in front of your building, but I don't see the kids." She ran down to where the crowd and fire trucks and firemen were, and said, "My babies are still in that building." She pointed to the window. As she's pointing to the window, the actual fireman who took us out went up in the window to get us. So he was able to hand me out the window, and the chief took me then, and there are pictures with him giving me mouth to mouth, and one walking me to a truck, and then there's another one where he's laying me down on the back of a pickup truck, and then there's another picture where my brother's he handed my brother out. Going to the hospital, my dad was actually at work that day, so they called him to come. And once he got to the hospital, they said to him, "Mr. Jackson, I'm sorry the baby's gone, but we're still working on the other kids." So they went back, and after being back there, they came back, and they said, "I'm sorry, Mr. Jackson, the older girl is gone, but the little girl, the baby's back." I said, "But we're still working on your son. Come back." And this is from my dad. Years later, he told me, only because I forced him to tell me. He goes back, the doctors come back and said, "I'm sorry, the baby's gone, but we're still working on your son." Goes back, he comes back, and he says, "I'm sorry, Mr. and Mrs. Jackson, your son is gone, but the little girl is back." And that's how I'm here today. My mother dealt with grief silently, I think. She was ill most of my life. So there were times I would sing myself to sleep, cry myself to sleep. And it was like comfort, because my mother wasn't there. We would, we were out, our hair might not be combed. We would meet family members for the first time, and because of how we looked, they would say things like, they would say, "Hey, meet your cousins, Dita and Janita." That was our name. They would go, "Ugh, that's not my cousin." So I would practice in the mirror how I would talk to them when they would say that to me again the next time I would encounter that. But not knowing, practicing that in the mirror, that helped with me acting. If you're not making me mad, you're not gonna make me sad. So it helped develop me singing to myself. It helped me to become a better singer. Precious Lord. And one of the songs that I would sing to myself is Precious Lord. That was literally one of the songs I was singing, and that was one of the first songs that they would stand me up in a chair at 3 years old to sing in church. And when I was singing it's like I sung from a place that I didn't know I was singing from. So I would literally sing it with tears in my eyes. I just got off tour. I've been touring with Tyler Perry, and they actually ended the tour a week early. My cousin been calling me, like blowing me up. And as I was getting ready to call her back, she called me back. And she says, honey, what are you doing? I've been calling you. And I said, I'm in my car. Why, what's up? She says to me, are you sitting down? I said, why? Yeah, why? She said, I got a call here at the church. And she answered the phone, and the guy said, hello. My maiden name is Jackson. She said, I'm trying to get in touch with Dita Jackson. And she thought most people, because I sing and everything, if they're trying to get in touch with me to sing somewhere, minister, perform, they'll call the church because they know where I would go, where I went. And she says, well, if you give me your name and number, I'll have her call you back. He said, well, no, it's really important that I speak with her. She says, well, I can take your name and number and have her call you back. He said, you know what? I'm just going to say it. He said, the fireman that took her out of the fire over 15 years ago is retiring tomorrow night. An award he was supposed to get the award for Fireman of the Year that year. He was a rookie. Excuse me. And because of racism, he was a black fireman. They didn't give it to him that year. So I called, of course. There was no answer. No one answered any of the numbers that I called. And I get a call after 10, something to 10. And I answered the phone. And he said, hello, may I speak to Dita? Excuse me. And I said, this is she. He said, there is a God. And I said, yes, it is. He said, we have been looking for you for over 15 years. He said they would go from door to door on Bartlett Street as far as, they could, or on Seward Street asking people, do you know the Jacksons? Do you know what happened to the Jacksons? He said, I had given up. He said, but today I said to myself, I'm going to find her. He said he called every Jackson in the phone book. The last Jackson he called was my cousin. He said, and we want you to give him the award. I'm quiet because I'm still in shock. So I said, yeah, we'll come. I'll be there. He's like, how many tickets you want? I said, well, I tried to give a whatever account of how many I thought would come. The next day is the banquet. And I get in there and I give the people my name. And it was literally like they knew me. And they can hug me, the historian, and talked. They sat us at our table, and the historian actually came over to me, and he was like, wow. He said, I can't believe it. And he says the same thing, there is a God. We've looked for families for years and still never found them. But we found you. And he said, did you meet Mr. Johnson yet? Because his name was Willie Johnson. I said, no, I don't want to meet him. Not yet, because I don't know if I would have gotten through it. So right before it's time for the ceremony for him to get his award, they show this movie of all the fires, because it's a ball, the fireman's ball. And it's like thousands of firemen, and even the police department was there, the news was there. And so they started playing like the history of fires for Engine 7, because that's the fire department that got to my house first. And towards the end, they started showing the movie of them bringing me out the fire. And my aunt shouts out, Dita, that's you. And I couldn't believe it. Like, it blows my mind now. And after that, someone got up to the podium and said, tonight is a very special night. We have Mr. Johnson, who's been a fire chief or fireman for over so-and-so years. He's retiring tonight. And at the end, that was him bringing a little girl out the fire. And that girl is here tonight to present him with the award. You could literally hear his family go, where? Where? And at that moment, I saw my mother differently. I saw my dad differently because growing up, I didn't understand, why she was the way she was, why my dad had been the way he was. I knew I was different from most kids, but I didn't understand it. After that was over, he got to the mic. If I could say this, he got to the mic and he said that, pretty much he didn't consider us a hero. He was just doing what he was taught to do. He was doing his job. The only thing he said was he wished he'd had more time and all of us. We will all be here. Afterwards, I met his family and he had like a couple girls, like 5 daughters, maybe 2 boys, whatever. They all hugged me and they said for years my pictures had been in their living room. They would ask their Dad, I wonder what happened to the little girl. He would say, I know she's all right. And they were like, how do you know, Dad? He said, because I know right here. You never let anyone write your story. It doesn't matter how bad it gets. You can come out, and you can come out all right, and in your right mind. My name is Monique, and I am a woman on the move.